Hello, and welcome back to a slightly neglected series, I will admit, but we're going to wrap it up in the coming weeks. Favorite albums of all time. I drafted this list up in October. I haven't edited it at all. I've kept it as it was then. So we're into the top 30, which is, we were already in 10 out of 10 albums for me, and now we're going to keep rolling through some real classics here. So, yeah, here we go. Number 30. Doesn't really get much more classic than this. Rumours by Fleetwood Mac. One of the most important albums to me personally in my musical discovery. It's one of my dad's favourite albums ever. So I heard most of the songs growing up in the car and stuff. The Chain, Go Your Own Way, Dreams, the massive hits, but also love some of the deeper cuts on the album, like I Don't Want to Know and Secondhand News. There's some amazing songs all the way throughout. There's not really a skip for me, even though songs like Songbird and Oh Daddy are not as good for me as the rest, but still, I think they're good enough to stand in the album as album tracks. And yeah, just one of those unbelievable albums. It sounds brilliant, as well as the songwriting being fantastic, and Lindsey Buckingham's guitar is on fire throughout the whole album. Number 29 was my favorite album of 1972, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars by David Bowie. Again, doesn't really get much more classic than this. Opening off with 5 Years and then Soul Love, just so good. You have tracks like Moon Age Daydreams, Starman, Ziggy Stardust, closing on Rock and Roll Suicide. Definitely that and 5 Years are my favorites on the album. Both probably in my top 10 David Bowie songs. Maybe that'll be a video one day. It feels like it has to be. He's my favorite artist of all time. So just putting that out there. But yeah, the track Moon Age Daydream actually has been the one that I've been returning to the most often recently. I think I got a bit burnt out on it for a while there, but yeah, that song is just terrific. And again, like Rumours, sounds incredible, and the whole band are just amazing. 28, an album that has had a bit of a resurgence in popularity. Hounds of Love by Kate Bush. Running Up That Hill, all-time great pop song. I'm glad it has been given a resurgence in popularity. Very cool to see. Cloudbusting is actually my favorite Kate Bush song. The strings on that song are immaculate. The whole A-side, The Big Sky, is amazing as well. The title track is also really good. And Dream of Sheep, I think, is a really beautiful little ballad. And some of the weirder stuff on side 2 is really awesome as well. Like, she's it's sort of like, it's not like she's betraying the sort of quirkiness of her style. There's some similarities to The Dreaming, which was the album before this one. But this is far and away my favorite Kate Bush album, and one of my favorite albums of the 80s, full stop. So yeah, Hounds of Love lands at 28. 27, an album I mentioned with Sun Kill Moon, album that's slightly tarnished. Same thing with this one. Funeral by Arcade Fire lands at number 27, and it's not even my favorite Arcade Fire album, and it's in my top 30 albums of all time. Like Fleetwood Mac, very important artist for my musical discovery. One of my best friends, Yeston, was, super into Arcade Fire and was like, "You gotta listen to this band, man." And it wasn't this album that he was pushing the most. I guess we'll get to that album that has a bit more of the emotional attachment for me, but this is just perfect from front to back. Every song is an anthem. Obviously, very serious allegations come against Win Butler, which I haven't really listened to much Arcade Fire since then. In fact, the allegations came out 2 days before I saw them live, and we ended up going anyway, and it was a really strange atmosphere. But yeah, music's a little bit tarnished now, even though the live show was fun. Yeah, there's just something about some of these songs, though, that are just these teenage anthems that really hit home better than any music that is of that vein. Songs like Wake Up and Rebellion. So hopefully one day I'll be able to come back to their music in the same way as before. Number 26 is To Bring You My Love by PJ Harvey. This is one of the most essential albums of the 90s, sort of got like almost bluesy kind of sound to it, which is quite cool. Very gritty. Some incredible songs on here. The title track is one of my all-time favorite album openers. It's just so awesome, so cool. She has such a evil aura on that song, which is really awesome. Come On Billy as well is another real favorite of mine. Meets a Monster. It's all just great. The whole album has this incredible atmosphere, and I'm usually one for individual songs over like a coherent atmosphere, but this is an album that kind of has both. But I think the atmosphere is more what sells me on it. I think it is just an incredible album. And then it's the top 25. We're sticking in the 90s for my number 25, and we're going with Where You Been by Dinosaur Jr. It's an album I've talked about on the channel before. It's my favorite album of theirs. Just amazing, like stoner rock, sludgy guitar. The riffs on this thing are amazing. The opening riff to Start Chopping being one of the most obvious examples, but really melodic as well. I think Out There is a fantastic opener. Yeah, it's just, again, from front to back, really, really strong, full of memorable parts. I really like Jay Mascis's vocals. I know they're not for everyone, but that sort of strained style, I really do enjoy it. And yeah, Where You Been is just an absolute all-time classic. I love it. And then 24, one of my favorite groups of all time that I've not really talked about that much, and it is Remain in Light by Talking Heads. David Byrne, Brian Eno, the whole rest of the band as well, of course, but that's sort of the combination I think of in my head here. Brian Eno really gets the best out of their sort of idiosyncrasy on this album. Once in a Lifetime, obviously, is the standout song, but Born Under Punches is this delightfully strange, danceable, weird song. The Overload, I actually really, really love. Really ominous sounding. Houses in Motion as well, the spoken word on that song. Yeah, there's something really creepy about parts of this album, but there's also some really fun, danceable tracks as well. Not for everybody, but for me, who likes my sort of weird art rock type stuff, I really love this one. I think it sounds incredible, and it's just one of those like bizarre masterpieces that exist that I really love. Number 23, this is a video I never actually got around to making, but I did do a deep dive of the year 1982, and this album was my favorite album of that year. It's Night and Day by Joe Jackson. Beautiful art pop, some really cool rhythmic stuff going on here. And what it comes down to is that all 9 of the songs are earworms for me. The opener, Another World, is incredible. Target is really fun. TV Age with the line, "There's no need for movies, we got HBO." That line coming in 1982 is pretty cool, how that sort of forecasts the current climate, especially of films and TV, how TV is sort of like the more prestige, especially HBO, rather than like the mainstream films that are coming out. So yeah, obviously Stepping Out, big single, love it. B-side is a bit more reflective, with a song like Breaking Us in Two, but the final 2 songs are the real highlights for me. A Slow Song is the closer, and Real Men comes just before it. Really emotional, sort of laying his heart out on those songs, which I really appreciate. I just think this is a perfect sounding album, full of hooks, great rhythmically. Yeah, nothing to complain about with it. I absolutely adore the album in every way. Number 22 is my favorite sort of R&B soul album of all time. It's Curtis by Curtis Mayfield, his debut album. Just absolutely flawless production, so lush and grand, and his voice, he's one of my absolute favorite, probably top 3 singers of all time. Some of the notes he reaches are unbelievable, and he has this real aura about him when he's singing. In fact, there's a live recording of the song from this album, The Makings of You, where there's like women in the front sort of getting very worked up about Curtis's performance, which I totally see. He's a very commanding presence, and yeah, just some really beautiful stuff, and the playing on the album is unbelievable all the way throughout. So yeah, production, playing, vocals, songwriting, all perfect. Again, all 8 songs are just masterpieces for me. So the fact that it falls out the top 20 is sad, but that's the way it goes sometimes. And then my number 21 to end this video. The timing of this is unfortunate. It's Marquee Moon by Television. Tom Verlaine just passed away a couple of days ago. Very sad to hear that, obviously. Again, a very important album to me. A perfect album in every sense. And Tom Verlaine's charismatic vocals and his incredible guitar playing were a massive part of that. Track like See No Evil, where he sort of shows off the more playful side. Same thing with the song Prove It, it's a bit more playful. And then you have tracks like the title track, which is this epic sort of, yeah, it's something so hard to put into words, that track. And it's been sort of attempted to be replicated, that kind of style, but nothing touches the original. It's 10 minutes long. It breezes by so quickly. Drums on it are amazing. Guitar is obviously incredible. And yeah, it's one of those all-time classic songs for a reason. Yeah, so rest in peace, Tom Verlaine. And there will be a television video ranking coming, probably not too soon, but it'll be coming in the next month or two, I would imagine. So that's something to look forward to. It's kind of something Brian and I decided, so we're both big fans of this album, that we should cover it given the recent news, because yeah, he had a life that was worth celebrating, I think, just from this album alone, honestly, but throughout his career. So yeah, there we go. There's 30 through 21, only 2 episodes left. I'll be intrigued to hear any predictions of what you think might come up in the comments. Next video is going to be the Weezer album ranking, which is recorded, just needs to be edited. That'll be out in the next few days. But yeah, hope to see you guys soon.